All right, good morning, everybody, or good afternoon or good evening, depending on where you're joining us from. I know that we've got a lot of people joining from tons of different streaming platforms. So hello, whether you're on Crowdcast or YouTube or Twitch or BlackBerry or Palm Pilot or Telephone or Telegraph, whatever you're watching or hearing this on, welcome. We'll try to respond to all of your questions as they come in. But if you'd like to see more technical content like this from IBM Developer, please feel free to subscribe or follow or whatever the appropriate action is on the platform that you're watching this on. And by the way, if you do want to jump ahead and start working on the lab later in the session, we actually have a link that we're going to share with you where you can create your own IBM Cloud account right now. So feel free to get started by following that link. That'll either be in the chat or appearing magically on your screen. Oh, yeah, there we go. I love it. I wanted to introduce some of our speakers today. I'm your host, Dave Nugent. I'm here with the IBM Developer San Francisco team. Let us know where you're joining from in the comments. We always love to see our reach all around the globe. But I wanted to introduce two of our speakers here talking about the technical integration. We've got Myrdul and Khalil. And then we've also got Arthur from Twilio. So welcome all three of you.
Glad to be here.
I'm glad, I'm glad that you're glad. Even if it was a delayed glad, we'll take it. And so I wanted to, first of all, hand it over to Arthur to talk a little bit about Twilio. And also, since Arthur's a game designer working on their gamified Twilio education experience, Twilio Quest, I'm hoping that he can fill us in a little bit on that. And then we'll jump right into the presentation in the lab and talk about Watson Assistant. So Arthur, tell us more about it.
Yeah, thanks, Dave. So Twilio is a company that focuses on communications APIs. If you ever think about getting text messages on your phone and then you respond and it responds back to you magically, that most of it is basically through Twilio. It's pretty simple to make a Twilio app. You go to our website, twilio.com, you open the console, make an account, click buy a phone number, attach it to usually it's a web app, attach it to that, and then you tell your web app to send a message and it goes straight through. We support SMS and email, but we also support other platforms like Messenger and WhatsApp. At Signal 2021, which is our annual event where we talk about new Twilio products, we introduced new platforms like Twilio Messaging X, where you have one platform and you can code it to submit messages to multiple chatting platforms. We also have introduced Twilio Intelligence for Voice, which is a AI and machine learning powered service where you convert your voice calls into structured text, and you can use that to infer data on what you should do next with it. So that's really cool. We have Flex One, Twilio Flex One. It's one single API to deploy to and manage digital channels for business and consumer communications. And then this one's cool, Twilio Engage, where you take data from all sorts of sources. You may have in-house data, or you may have other data from your apps that you deploy into the world. Take that data, put it together, and Twilio Engage is able to come up with some data that can help you with your next marketing campaign. Now, I am a Twilio Quest game designer. I focus more on the developer evangelism part of giving a coding game to all of you to play. It's a really fun game. It's called Twilio Quest. And players save the world on top of the mysterious fog owl by typing in some code and solving coding questions. And we have a lot of different challenges ranging from Python to PHP, to JavaScript, Git, GitHub, and of course, our own Twilio APIs. And you can learn more about that at twilioquest.com. So I'm super excited to see what how IBM has implemented our Twilio APIs.
That's awesome. Yeah, thank you for the background, Arthur. And Arthur will be here if you have any questions about the Twilio side of things or any of the Twilio products. Definitely recommend getting started on Twilio Quest. It's always fun to use coding to save the world as opposed to just not getting fired by your boss. But yeah, thank you again for joining us. That's really cool. We're actually doing a full workshop series with Twilio. So this is just the first workshop, but we've actually got 2 more coming up in the rest of the month. And we'll be sharing those links with everybody in the chat at some point during the presentation. And so at this point, I think it's time to hand it over to the Watson side of things. Twilio has a bunch of products, as Arthur mentioned, and there's a lot of different products on IBM, and the number of ways that they can work together is almost endless. And so in this case, what we're going to do is we're going to turn it over to Mirdul and Khalil, who have made one really cool integration that you'll be able to follow along with. So take it away.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much, David. My name is Khalid, everyone. You can call me Khalid if it's easier. I know some of you find it a bit hard. I am as a previous developer advocate for IBM, and currently I'm moving to Ireland to work as a solution architect for HubSpot. Today, we really all want to work or to talk about is Watson Assistant and Twilio. So first, let me share my screen. Okay, sharing. All right, so I hope everyone can see my screen. So with me today in this workshop, I have my colleague Mirdul Handari, who as well is a developer advocate. Let's put Mirdul on the stage so he can introduce a bit about himself before proceeding. So Mirdul, can you just please talk a bit about yourself?
Great. Thank you, Khalil. Hi, everyone. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I hope you're all safe and doing well. My name is Mirdul Bhandari, and I'm an IBM developer advocate based in Dubai, UAE.
Yes, thank you, Mirdul. And you've already met everyone, Arthur. So before starting, please want to make sure that you sign up for your IBM Cloud account. I believe all the links are being shared. So the first one is to get started here, ibm.biz/IBM Twilio, or the link that previously it was shared on the screen, so you can create your IBM Cloud account directly from there. And if you want to leave at any moment, please make sure to fill the survey. It's already there. The link is ibm.biz/IBM Twilio survey. This will really help us to improve for any other workshops. So having said that, we just want to talk about, again, you have all the links, these are being shared. So the workshop that we'll be doing will be sent for you as well. It's a GitHub repository, so you can follow along the hands-on on the specific link, which will be as well shared for you. And there is, of course, the link where you can see the slides. Now, this session is recorded, so you can, at any time, go ahead and just go and check whatever you want to keep up with this interesting session. And the last part, which is the most important part, is to please make sure to create your Twilio account. Again, it's a free account that you can create, and you really need it so we can be able to do this integration between Watson and Twilio. So having said that, again, one last thing is about Crowdcast. For anyone who is using Crowdcast, just make sure to click on the green button so you can be directly directed to the workshop session. And please make sure as well to follow us so you can keep up updated with all our sessions. You can ask questions, you can say whatever you want here in the chat, because you want, we'll be able to see these. Let's start. So the first thing, since we're going to work about Watson on Watson Assistant, you want to define what exactly are chatbots. So that's why we're going to define what exactly chatbots are and how Watson Assistant can come to this big major term that we are hearing these days a lot. And from here, we're going to discuss about the main Watson Assistant features and its integration. Then we're going to talk briefly about WhatsApp as why we are using WhatsApp in today's session. And of course, we'll be leveraging Twilio because Twilio is kind of this kind of bridge that is linking Watson Assistant to WhatsApp. And from there, we're going to jump to Mirdul, who will be doing a very interesting hands-on session to show you how easy it is to make a chatbot and deploy it simply to WhatsApp through Twilio. And we're going to share a couple of useful links for you. I just want to clarify here for today's session that we are not going to tackle Watson Assistant itself. The focus is much more on the integration of Watson Assistant and Twilio rather than covering what Watson Assistant is and see how it works. We're going to talk about it briefly in the presentation, but when it comes to the hands-on session, it will be much more focused on the integration. So what exactly are chatbots? Basically, it's a cognitive AI that is designed to be able to create a conversation or simulate a conversation with a user with natural language understanding and natural language processing. And we can use these through messaging application, website, mobile apps, or even through the telephone. And well, the reason why we use chatbots is because they are very common these days. They have a lot of benefits. First of all, they are very cost effective. Instead of having someone to answer the phone every time or to have a 24/7 chat support, it will be much more easier to have a chatbot that can take a bit of this workload. So with that, we can as well automate the work. We can reduce the cost. We can increase the customer satisfaction, which is one of the most important aspects when it comes to business these days, because we always want, or businesses aim to have or create a much better and smoother experience for the customers. And as well, it's accessible, so it's very easy to deploy it anywhere and to have anyone in the world to use it. And we will see later a bit on Watson Assistant how accessible it is. And of course, when we are designing a chatbot, we need to have a specific roadmap that we need to follow. So we cannot design a chatbot that's made for everyone. We need to have a specific target. So we need to know our audience. Who are we designing this chatbot for? Who is our audience? Who's going to use it? And then we're going to move to our specific goal. So what is my specific goal of this chatbot? Am I building a chatbot only to answer very basic questions, maybe? Or maybe I want to have a chatbot that has a bit of advanced features, like maybe for banking, where users can sign in and add some credentials to be able to check their balance account. It depends on what exactly the scope of this chatbot itself is. And once we have all of these defined, the scope, the audience, this is where we can go ahead and start designing the conversation workflow. And finally, we can visualize user in conversation, which is maybe the most important part, because when you're designing a conversation, you need to put yourself as a user and try to see what question you might ask. So for example, if I'm asking about opening hours, I'm going to try to imagine what kind of intents can be used in this case, like when do you open, when do you close, what are your opening hours? You start to imagine what kind of questions this user might ask regarding opening hours. And of course, there's a lot of work here that needs to be done. So to make it much more easier for developers, we can use Watson Assistant. And basically, Watson Assistant is a conversational AI platform that helps to engage your customers to get them what they want, when they want, through any channel. And it's very easy to build. Like, you don't need to have a coding experience or a huge technical background. It has a very easy-to-use interface that will allow you to build or design your conversation workflow in minutes, literally. Of course, it depends on the scope, but you can build a chatbot easily in minutes. The way Watson Assistant works is through three main concepts, which are known as intent, entity, and dialogue. So usually intents are what the user intends to communicate. So these are the questions that he might ask. Previously, I gave the example of opening hours. Maybe if you're building, again, a chatbot for banking, you might want to have an intent regarding bank account. So a user might go ahead and ask, I want to check my bank account. What is my current bank account? So intents are the questions or the main topics that the user might ask about. Entities are kind of a specific keywords and objects that give more context to the user's questions. So we're going to explain this in the next slide because it's better to explain in an example, but basically these are very specific keywords. Let's say maybe I have a cupcakery, a small shop that sells cupcake and have different flavors. I want to be able to distinguish between the vanilla, the chocolate, and strawberry. So these three words, vanilla, strawberry, and chocolate, can be used as entities. So because they kind of describe a specific kind of a cupcake, and I can use these to give more context to my chatbot. And of course, the last puzzle is a dialogue, and this is basically where we have the entire flow of the conversation. It's like we're putting the intents and the entities together with the response to see what the assistant will and what exactly will be answering to the user's response. To give you a brief example, the way Watson Assistant works is through the concept of nodes. Now, I was explaining before about intents and entities, and these intents, for example, can be used as a condition in a specific node. So let's take the other example about the opening hours. Let's say a user is asking about regarding the opening hours. I'll have a node, let's say node 1, and it has the intent about opening hours. So if a user is asking about the specific topic, then Watson Assistant will go to the dialog node and will check which node has this intent. So is it node 1? Let's say it is in here. If it is, then yes, it will go ahead and check, and we can add our response to opening hours, maybe are from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. on weekdays. Now, if it wasn't here in this node, it will go ahead and check the other node. If not, it will go ahead and check the other node. So it will loop through all of these nodes to find the corresponding intent, and then we'll enter it and send us the response. And of course, we can have nested child nodes, and this can be much more complicated. But for now, I just wanted to give you a high level of how it works. And to explain more about the entities, let's go back to the example of cupcake flavors. So in this case, let's say we have entities of type that can differentiate between the gluten cupcakes and the non-gluten. So for example, I can add inside my dialog node, if the entity, I have an entity that is of type gluten-free, then I want you to go to this node and answer with that. In this case, that we have a gluten-free vanilla that everyone loves. If it wasn't gluten-free, then we can say that all of the flavors that we have for cupcakes and vanilla, mocha, and red velvet flavor in this case. So here what we have done is we've used the entity of type, which has gluten-free or regular, to be able to distinguish, to add some more conditions based on this specific type. Maybe another example could be about the flavors. If it was chocolate, then the price would be maybe $5. If it was a strawberry, the price is $2. We can use these specific keywords to add some more context by using them as conditions. So this is kind of a high level of how Watson Assistant works when it comes to designing the conversation. But of course, there is much more that we can talk about Watson Assistant. Basically, it has a very easy to use a chat interface that basically where we can have it deployed easily. In minutes. It has a secure login. It has visual customization. This is kind of a very example of how the interface would look like. Another very interesting feature is disambiguation. This is pretty cool because you see sometimes if a user types something very vague, like in this case, he only typed "I'm traveling," but you have many intents that are regarding travel. So what an assistant does in this case, it's not going to jump into conclusion. Instead, it understands that traveling is something vague in here, and it's going to ask the user that I can help you with travel tips or travel alerts. So it's going to disambiguate what the user is, but basically on what the user is asking, as it's going to give him some choices. So in this case, this will help the user more to answer exactly what he wants. And that's cool because we're not jumping into conclusions. Another thing is slots. So this is very important when we want to collect information. Let's go back to the example of banking. If I want to check my balance account, I will need, for example, my OTP, my user, I don't know, my password or my email, something like that. Let's say the account number, sorry. So I need this information. So we use slot as a way where the assistant can ask to the user for this information. Let's say, what is your account number? The user is going to type account number, and then it will be saved. Just like here, for example, we have location. It's going to check for location. It's saved as a context variable. We can use dates. We can use anything. In this case, let's say I'm typing my password. It's going to take the password and save it. And then we can use these variables, maybe in a cloud function or somewhere, to do the authentication. So basically, slot is where we can gather information. Another example will be maybe for booking a restaurant reservation. You need to know the number of person, the phone number, the person's name. So we need to collect all of this information, and we can use slots to do that. We have as well webhooks, and this is basically to connect the assistant into any external system. It can be a cloud function, just like I was talking before, where we can use these variables and send them to make a specific thing, maybe authentication it can be. Even in today's workshop, we're going to use webhooks to be able to connect Twilio with Watson Assistant. And there is a search skill, and this is basically very interesting in a way that it can search for any existing content that we have. For example, there is another service in Watson called Watson Discovery, where you can upload all your documents there. And let's say the user types something, it wasn't defined in your dialog, but you have it connected to this document in Watson Discovery. So what the Watson Assistant do in this case through search skill is going to search from the document, and using the power of natural language is going to see what exactly matches what the user asked from this document. So in this case, the user here asked, can I use my card while abroad? These responses are not defined in the Watson Assistant in the dialog. These are defined in the document in Watson Discovery. So through search skill, it went to search through all of these documents, and using natural language, it searched for which documents are relevant to this question, and it then shows up. So these are all done without any line of code. These are all out of the box from Watson Assistant itself. And of course, we have the analytics. This is very useful, where we can see the trends how we can improve the conversations, if the assistant is learning from previous interactions, what are the main kind of issues. If there are some irrelevant intents it's not understanding, we can see them and fix them. So it's always good to have or to understand what's happening behind the scenes. And this is done through analytics, again, out of the box from Watson Assistant. Another cool feature is the intent recommendation. And you see, I was talking before on how we can, or how we need to add more intents, kind of that represent the topics that the user might ask about. And with Watson Assistant, we have an intent recommendation. So basically, using continuous learning, Watson will be able to find the intents that the user needs the most based on what the user was asking before. Or maybe if you have, so for example, if your assistant is live and is getting more and more questions that are not defined in your Watson Assistant, with machine learning, it will be able to understand that, all right, this question might fit in this specific category, in this intent, let's add it here. If you have a CSV file, it's going to fetch through all of the examples that you have, and it's going to classify them to your different intents through machine learning. So this can really help time instead of building the Watson Assistant from scratch. And of course, the best part is that you can deploy Watson Assistant anywhere on any cloud, whether it's Google, Amazon, Microsoft, anything. You can as well put it on a private cloud, on your prem cloud. If you're more into security and you want a very high security, you want to deploy on your own premise, that's totally fine. So it's flexible. It can be deployed anywhere. So the three main kind of advantages here is that it's simple to build, simple to maintain, and we can literally deploy it in day, no month. So we wanted to make it very easy for developers to go and build their assistants. And of course, it can be integrated with anything, which is one of the main features that we'll be covering today in the workshop. Basically integrating with any channel. In our case, we'll be integrating with WhatsApp by leveraging Twilio. We can use any languages. It has universal language model, so that's totally fine if you want to build an assistant in English or Chinese. There are many support for different languages. And again, we can integrate with any content. So we can train our assistant from existing content rather than building from it from scratch. This is, again, very important. And of course, we can add it to any customer service platform, because a lot of time we don't want to, maybe if it's a kind of a big issue, you need a person or a human agent to go ahead and start talking with the user. So we have out-of-the-box, IBM has out-of-the-box connections to different platforms like Salesforce, Intercom, Zendesk, and many, many more. And of course, Twilio. So this will help to easily put a human agent in contact with the user. Now, of course, we have WhatsApp, which we'll be using in today's workshop. And the reason why we're using WhatsApp is because it's the most popular messaging service in over 100 countries. It has, a great ability for business profile. And again, it has many advantages, like it has a very easy to use interface, it's very common, ease of access, conversation history, chatbot analytics. And again, it's a very familiar platform. And if you want to talk WhatsApp in numbers, there is more than 1 billion daily active users and 3 million WhatsApp business users. And every day we have around 65 billion WhatsApp messages that are being sent, which is 29 million per minute. So that's why it's that common, and it's pretty good to show you how you can integrate this with Watson Assistant. And again, some other data is to see a bit on how it performs in specific markets, like in India and Brazil. This is like maybe the highest or the largest WhatsApp markets. And in addition to the highest penetration rates, which are in Netherlands, Spain, and Italy. So let's go to the interesting part, which is our use case. And again, what we want to do today is to focus purely on the integration, on how we can add WhatsApp with Watson Assistant. So we want to add Watson Assistant basically integrated to WhatsApp, and we're doing this with Twilio. So again, because since we're using free accounts and it's a demo, we'll be using Twilio Sandbox to show how this integration works. And we'll be using three main technologies: Watson Assistant, Twilio, and WhatsApp. So again, I want to make sure that you have signed for your IBM Cloud account and that you have as well signed for your Twilio account, because we'll be needing these two to be able to make this successful integration. And you have the slides the link for the repository where you can follow along. And of course, you have access to the slides. And having said that, let's jump to the most interesting part with Mridul, who will be showing you how to build this very interesting chatbot and add it to WhatsApp. So Mridul, stage is all yours, buddy.
Yeah, thank you, Khalil and Arthur. I'll be taking you over through the workshop use case for today. So I'll just start by sharing my screen. Yeah, I hope you can see my screen. Khalil, all good, right?
Yeah, we can see your screen. Yeah.
All right, thank you. So the first thing, as Khalil mentioned, we require for today is to sign up for an IBM Cloud account. The link for that is ibm.biz/IBM Twilio. This is the link. And once you go to this link, a page like this should appear. So you'll have to fill in your credentials to create an IBM Cloud account. So you can enter your email ID, you can create a password, you can verify an email. So you should receive an OTP on your email. You can verify your email using that. And then you should need to agree to the terms and conditions, and you can click on continue. And once you're done, you would have an IBM Cloud account ready. So it will only take a few seconds to create an IBM Cloud account, and your IBM Cloud account is set up. And once you're set up with your IBM Cloud account, you come to this page, which shows the dashboard for IBM Cloud account. So over here, so what we're going to do is we're going to start by creating a Watson Assistant service. So for this, you can actually go in the search bar over here, and you can search for Watson Assistant. And you can see under catalog results, you should be Watson Assistant service. So you can click on that. And once you come on this page over here, so you'll have to select a few details, such as the location. So you can change the location to Dallas, and you can select the plan as light. This is sufficient for a workshop today. You do not need to create a premium or a trial account or a plus account. So a light plan is sufficient for today. And once you select the light plan, you can scroll down, and over here you'll see the service name. So we can change the service name to IBM Twilio. So as we're using these two services, we'll change the name to IBM X cross Twilio. So you can give a name whatever you like. You can select whatever you like. You can give that name. And once you're done, you can click on I have read and agree to the following terms and license agreements. So you can see the agreements over here. And you can click on create. So once you click on create, the service should be created. So it'll take a few seconds. So till it takes time to create, you can also go ahead and create your own Watson Assistant service. And once you come here, once you're done, you should load this page up. So where it shows the option to launch the Watson Assistant service. So till everyone is creating an Watson Assistant service, we can just see a few things. So if you want to see a get started tutorial for Watson Assistant, you can go ahead and click this link over here, and you can understand more about Watson Assistant and cover the basics. As Khalil mentioned, in this workshop will be focusing more on the integration or using Watson Assistant rather than Watson Assistant. It would be good to, if you're not familiar with Watson Assistant, to go ahead and see this tutorial to get yourself familiarized with Watson Assistant. And once you're done, once you've created a service, you can click on Launch Watson Assistant. And this will take a few seconds. So we'll take a few seconds to load. And I hope till then you can also utilize the time to create your own Watson Assistant service. So it should take a few seconds. So we'll give it a chance to load. So I'll just go through this once you are done. So once you load this page over here, on the right-hand side top corner, you can see manage, and you can see, so it should show switch to a new experience. So if you have something different, a different page loading up than what is seen on the screen like mine, you could go ahead and click to switch to classic experience. Go ahead and click on this manage account icon and click on switch to classic experience. And once you click on that, switch to classic experience, a page like this should load up. So I'll just give it a few seconds for you to click on the link. So I hope by now you have created a Watson Assistant service. So parallelly, if you're creating a Watson Assistant service, I will go through the workshop resources which we require for today. So the link for the GitHub repository is ibm.biz/WhatsApp-chatbot-repo. So this is the link for the workshop resources which we'll need for our workshop use case. So this link is also will be also shared in the chat with you. It's already shared, and Khalil will also share it again with you if you're not able to see it. So once you go to this link, this GitHub repository should open up. So this is where all the resources we required for today are stored. So you can go ahead and you can go to this page, and you can click on this green icon over here, and you can download the GitHub repository. So you can click on download zip, and this will download a zip folder which you need to unzip. Or if you have GitHub desktop, you can install it using that. Or if you're familiar with the GitHub terminal, you can use the command line terminal, and you can copy this command and paste it in your command line, and you can download it. So whichever method you prefer, you can go ahead and clone this repository and keep it in your system. So this is the repository. I hope you can see it, and you're able to see, and you'll be able to access the repository. So one of the questions that was asked was, are you required to log in to GitHub to download this repository? No, this is a public repository, so you can download it without logging into GitHub. So if you don't have a GitHub account, you can still go ahead, access the repository, and you can download the repository. So you wouldn't face any issues if you are not logged into GitHub. So once you click on this and you download the zip, you can unzip the folder, and you can have the GitHub resources ready on your system. And we'll go back to the Watson Assistant. So now we click on the Assistants page, and on the left-hand side, you see Assistants. You click over there, and you click on this blue icon over here, which says Create Assistant. So we click on Create Assistant over here, and we will give our chatbot a name. We can give our assistant a name. So it could be whatever we prefer. So for today, we are trying to create a disaster resiliency chatbot to help people who are stuck in disasters such as floods. For them, we're trying to create an assistive chatbot which can solve their queries. So we can, give a name something like disaster resiliency bot. That could be the name of a chatbot. So you can give whatever name you prefer according to the use case. So this is something I gave because it matches the use case. So I give this name, but you can choose whatever name you like. And you can go ahead and you can click on Create Assistant. And this will take a few seconds to load up. So I'll just pause for a few seconds, and then wait for you to create a service and create an assistant. And then I shall continue. Yes, so one of the questions I see in the chat, is Twilio free? Yes, the Twilio account we are Twilio is free. I'll show you how to create this. That's the next step. So I will show you how to do it. The link for that is ibm.biz/try. Try is in small. Then Twilio, Twilio T is capital. So you can, it's also shared in the chat. So you can go ahead and you can create your account if you're done creating your assistant on Watson Assistant. If not, I'm going to show you how to create it. So we can, that should be the next step. So don't worry, we'll come to that. And to answer your question, yes, Twilio is free. So I hope by now you have created your assistant in Watson Assistant, and we can go ahead and add our skill for our chatbot today. So how do you add a skill? So on this, when you create the chatbot assistant, you can see disaster resiliency bot. You click on that, and over here you see how to build conversations using actions or dialogues. So you can go ahead and you can click on add an action or a dialogue skill. And you can use an existing skill which is already present. If you have already used one, or there should be one, or you can create your own skill and you can start working with that. And you can also use some sample skills. So we have something, a customer care sample skill, with a dialogue sample skill and an action style dialogue skill. So you can go ahead and you can select the sample skills for your chatbot, but we have created a skill for you for our use case today. So we'll be using that. So we'll go ahead and we go on, click on upload skill. And what we're going to do is we're going to click on drag and drop file here. So we're going to click on this. And then we're going to navigate to the repository which we downloaded. So the repository I've downloaded is, I'm going to navigate to that. So just going to that. So you go to the repository, and under the skill folder, you will see the JSON file. So this is the skill. So skill is mainly stated in the JSON file. So you can go ahead and you can click on select the file, and you can click on open. And then once it selects the file, you can click on upload. And this will take a few seconds, and you should be able to upload the skill, and it should load the skill. So I will wait for a few seconds for you to upload the skill, and then I shall continue. If you have any queries, you can ask me. If you want me to repeat any step, you can go ahead and ask that in the chat section, and I'll try to repeat myself if anything's required. So once you're done, you can see the dialog skill over here. So let's go ahead and explore the skill a bit. So once you click on the skill, you can see the intents, entities, and other things which are present there. And Khalil has explained also. I would not go in that detail to explanation because that's already been done. But you can see the intents over here. So you can click on the intent, and you can see the user examples all mentioned over here. You can see what all type of questions are there, what all intents are there. Each intent has some examples. You can go ahead and you can see that. So we have 9 intents, and each of these have their own examples. So you can see the number over here. And then you have the dialogue over here when you click on the dialogue. So you have the general greetings about the flood, and you have the responses. So you can go ahead and access this. And then for now, we haven't created a webhook. So we'll be creating that. So I'll show you how to do that, but you can see all of this over here. You can see intent detection. You can go ahead and you can see the enhanced in the classic version. And there are some analytics also, which will be done once we start using the chatbot. So as Khalil mentioned, it's easy to get an idea. So right now it's not being used. So there's no analytics that has come in. So you can see all this. And you have the user conversations and the versions and the content catalog and everything. So content catalog is sample skills you can add to your skill and enhance it and add more questions, add more queries so that it gets more responsive. It has more responses to queries for your users. And now we shall go back to our assistant. So we have the assistant over here. We have uploaded the skill. So we can actually go ahead and we can see the preview. And we can share this link. And we can access the disaster resiliency chatbot. So you can see over here. So we can just write about floods. And there's a query, there's a response to a query that is coming in that shows us about what about floods. It answers that query. And we can write, before floods. And you can see, what are precautions you can take before floods if it's a flood-prone area, or if you've got a note, a warning that a flood is approaching. And then, what are the steps you can take after the floods. So you can see it was very easy to build a chatbot, and a chatbot is ready, and we have uploaded the skill, and we have made a chatbot in just a few minutes, and it's ready to go. So our chatbot's all ready now. It's all prepared, and we have tested it out, and it's working. Now we need to connect it to WhatsApp. That is our use case for our workshop today. How do we integrate Watson Assistant to WhatsApp? Now this will be done using Twilio. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on Add Integration over here. And then you're going to scroll down and you're going to see third-party integrations. And once you're there, you can click on WhatsApp at Twilio. And once you come here, you can change the integration name, but we just keep it the same thing. And then you're going to click on Create. So I'll just give a few seconds till you create your own integration. So I'll just show you how. So you go to Add Integration on the right-hand side. Then you scroll down and you click on third-party. Under third-party integrations, you click on WhatsApp at Twilio. And you can go ahead and click on Create. I've already created one. I just need to click on Next, and your integration should be ready. And your integration should be displayed over here under Integrations. So I'll just give a few seconds so that everyone's set up the integration. Right. So by now, I hope you have all set up your integration, WhatsApp with Twilio integration and WhatsApp Assistant. Now we click on the integration. So this page over here appears. So now to set up our Twilio integration, we need to create Twilio account. So this is where Twilio comes into play. So we're going to see how we're going to utilize Twilio to connect our WhatsApp Assistant to WhatsApp. So for this, you need a Twilio account. So if you have an existing account, you can go ahead and you can utilize that. Or if you haven't created a Twilio account, so you can use this link, that is ibm.biz/try Twilio, and you can go ahead and once you go to this link, there's ibm.biz/try Twilio. You come to this page and you just need to enter your first name, your last name, your email. You need to create a password, and you need to accept the terms and conditions, and you can start your free trial over here. So it's a free account, so it's a free trial. You can use this link, you get a free trial account. So you can go ahead and create a Twilio account. The link is shared in the chat. If not, Khalil will share it in the chat with you, and you can go ahead and you can create your Twilio account. And there's no credit card required. So you can go ahead, go to this link, ibm.biz/try Twilio, enter your first name, your last name, your email, and your password, and you can start your free trial Twilio account. And once you log in and create your account, this dashboard page should appear over here for your Twilio account, which shows the account SID and authentication token. So once you have set up your account, you should have this appear. I'll just wait for a few seconds so that we can proceed ahead to integrate Twilio to WhatsApp Assistant. So if you have already an IBM Cloud account, I see this question that if you have an IBM Cloud account, would you still be able to access the trial account? Yes, you'll be able to access. So if you already have one, you can utilize that. No issues. You can use the same link to login, which we have shared. That is ibm.biz/ibm Twilio. So you can use this link to log in into your account, and you can access your existing account and still continue the trial account. So the link for IBM Cloud account is ibm.biz/ibm Twilio. So you can use this link to log in or to create your new IBM Cloud account. So once you are done creating your Twilio account, you have the account SID and authentication token over here. So what we need to do is we need to copy this. So you can see this icon over here. You hover over it, it says copy. So you can go to account SID and copy this. You make sure it changes to copied. Once it's copied, and you go to your WhatsApp Assistant page, and you click on next and proceed to step 1. And here you need to paste your account SID, and then you need to click on next. And next you need to enter the authentication token. The authentication token is hidden, so you can just click on copy. You don't need to show it. You can just click on copy over here. It copies it, and you can go back to the WhatsApp Assistant page, and you can paste the authentication token in step 2, and you can click on next, and it should create the webhook. So you can copy this webhook, and you can click on finish. So you have the account SID, the authentication token that is hidden, so you can view it, and the WhatsApp webhook that is over here. This is what we require. So make sure you have copied this again from here. So it changes to copied, and you have created the webhook, which we need to integrate WhatsApp Assistant to Twilio and then to WhatsApp. So now what I need you to do is go back to the Twilio account, and you come over here. And under messaging, I need you to go to try it out and click on send a WhatsApp message. So you click on send a WhatsApp message. And you come to this page. So what we require is now I want you to do is you can you can use your phones, or you can use WhatsApp desktop or any WhatsApp app, and you see the number that is displayed over here under your on your Twilio page. You need to send a WhatsApp message to this. So you can go ahead and you can save it as a contact. I need to message this code. So this number might be different for you for each of your accounts. So you can go ahead and save that particular number. So this is for me. So I'll be sending a WhatsApp message to this number, and I'll be messaging this code to them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start sharing my WhatsApp screen. So this is my WhatsApp screen. So I've saved the number. So I've saved the number and I've created a WhatsApp chat with them. So now I'm going to message them the code which they are displayed on the screen. That is join design-thumb. And I'm going to send this WhatsApp message. And if the message is sent successfully, it's received by Twilio, you should get this message. So it should say you're all set, and the sandbox can now be used to send or receive messages from WhatsApp. So you can stop to leave the sandbox anytime, but for now, we're going to be sending messages. So we need this. So once we come back to the Twilio page, so we have successfully sent a message, and it should show this message called congrats. Your WhatsApp phone number is now linked to your sandbox. And you can click on next, send a one-way message. So that has been sent. And we have done that. So we don't need to do anything to this step. And we can click on next, send to two-way messaging. So we click on that. And we can skip to this part because we are not setting up a two-way messaging for now. So our use case does not require. So we can just click on next, configure your sandbox. So once you come to this, once you click on configure your sandbox, it should load a different page for you. So this will take a few seconds to load. So we just wait for the page to load. So once this page loads up over here, you need to paste the integration link for the webhook, for the Watson Assistant, for it to be linked to WhatsApp. So what you need to do is the link which you had copied, make sure you have copied it, to make sure I've copied it again, and I go ahead and I paste it over here. So I pasted it over here and I scroll down and I'm going to click on save. So make sure you've copied the link and you have pasted in Twilio, and you can you have clicked on save. So once you do that, we can go ahead and we can start using WhatsApp to send messages and start interacting with a chatbot. So we go to this WhatsApp again, and now we can start sending messages. So we can write about floods over here, and we can see the response is coming to our query, that is about floods, and then we can write before floods, and then we can see what are the precautions we need to take before if there's a flood warning issued. So you can take these precautions that were shown in our preview, and then we can write after floods. And we see we have sent a message and we receive a query. So we have successfully integrated Watson Assistant to WhatsApp using Twilio, and our chatbot works perfectly fine. This was just one of the use cases we have used. So you can go ahead and you can change the use case. So you can use different use cases for like banking chatbots, or you can use a customer care chatbot using WhatsApp, because WhatsApp is one of the most used platforms. So you can go ahead and you can integrate your Watson Assistant chatbot with WhatsApp, and your users, your customers can access the chatbot and you can access the services using WhatsApp, and it makes it very convenient for them. They do not install a separate app, or they don't need to go to some other website to interact. They can do it all using WhatsApp. And as WhatsApp is the most used platform, you can easily reach a larger audience using this platform. So this makes really easy for businesses to grow, for business to reach out to customers, and for the customers to access and use the services which the businesses provide. So this is how we integrated Watson Assistant to WhatsApp using Twilio. And this was the use case we had. And you can see it has perfectly working fine, and you can interact with the chatbot. Yes, I see this question again. Yes, Watson Assistant, the light plan is free. You can go ahead and you can use our link, that is ibm.biz/IBM Twilio, to create a IBM Cloud account and create a Watson Assistant service. For Twilio, you need to go to ibm.biz/try Twilio. You have the link is just on my screen. I'm displaying it over here. You can go ahead and you can access this link, and you can create the accounts for free using these links. So this is specialized links we have created for you. You can go ahead and you can create your account using these links. So you can go ahead and try and create your accounts. And these accounts are free using these links. So that brings us to the end of the workshop use case and the hands-on session. Now I'd like to pass on to Khalil to conclude the session. So Khalil, over to you.
Yes, thank you, Mridul, for this very useful and interesting integration. So let me just go back and share my screen so we can do a quick recap for our lovely audience. So share screen. Okay. All right. So I think you can see my screen. So yes, thank you, Mridul. So this was to make it a quick summary here of what's exactly happened. The first thing is that you have created your IBM Cloud account, you've went there and you've created the Watson Assistant service. This is a service that helped us to design and develop a chatbot. And our use case, since we were not focusing on the chatbot itself, we have imported an existing development skill, which is about the flood disaster kit. So it was already done for you, you just had to import it. And then we created a third-party integration in Watson Assistant, which is WhatsApp with Twilio. So if we went to the ad integration, we went with Twilio to be able to add WhatsApp to it. And then from there, we created a Twilio account. We took, the authentication, the API key and the auth key, and it was just basically copy and pasting, literally just a couple of clicks, and we copy and paste. And this is eventually how we can simply link the Watson Assistant to WhatsApp with Twilio. So this is what kind of the main thing I want to show you, that you can easily do this with no technical background required. It was that simple. It does take a lot of time. As we can see, it was done very quickly. And that's a great thing about it. So we want to talk about a bit of what's next for Watson Assistant, since it's kind of having some additional features. And the first thing is that we will add, Watson Assistant will be adding a seamless web chat integration with Web Chat 5.0. So basically this means that there will be out-of-the-box dialogue support for videos, audios, and iframe. So you can go ahead and add audios and videos inside the chatbot. You'll be able to configure your YouTube videos, SoundCloud files, Google Maps, SurveyMonkey, Calendly, and even much more, as we can see here. It's providing easier telephony service integration, just like we saw in this case with Twilio. It's already out of the box. So we literally had nothing to do, just to copy and paste the credentials. It's offering a deeper conversion analysis and much, much more. So there's a lot of to discover about Watson Assistant. And that's why I want to share some useful links here with you. So the first couple of links, you've already seen this, basically the Twilio account, the IBM Cloud account. And of course, there's a Twilio account to create your own Twilio trial account there. And there is the hands-on where you will be able to see everything that we did today. We want to show you the IBM Developer. So this is developer.ibm.com. And basically, this provides any content on different technologies, from blockchain to security to AI and data science and microservices. So whatever you want to learn, you can go ahead and look for any tutorials or videos, good content to go ahead and get started with whatever you want to learn. And of course, we have our meetup link. So if you want to stay up to date with all of our events, workshops, and webinars, you can follow us there so you can see what we are doing. And the last link is, I think, very important for anyone who doesn't have a strong background in Watson Assistant. There is this Watson Assistant learning path. And since today's workshop was focusing much more on the integration itself, we want to give you something where you can go ahead and get started with Watson Assistant. So with that learning path, it will go from A to Z to be able to explore everything about Watson Assistant. So if we go ahead, it has different sections, from the overview to introduction to Watson Assistant, how you can create a retail customer service chatbot. So everything that we're discussing before about intents, dialogue, entities, slots, they will be covered in this learning path. So you can get be a bit more familiar about how Watson Assistant works. And the last thing as well, because I'm pretty sure some of you might have seen this classic version or the new version that Mridul was talking about earlier. If you are more interested to see how you can use this integration in the new version of Watson Assistant, we have already added the link for you right here inside the repository under workshop resources. So you will see the new Watson Assistant version with all the steps. So if you go ahead and you click on this, you will be directed to our content, an IBM Developer platform. It's pretty same. It has all the steps that we've seen in the regular GitHub repository, but with other pictures, because these pictures or these images, basically, they refer to the new version. So in case you want to go ahead and try the new version, you can go ahead and you feel free to just explore it. And having said that, I think we are done with that. We want to share our contact details. So in case you have any questions while you're exploring Bots and Assistant, or even with Twilio, with us, we have our special guest, Arthur, who is for Twilio. So this is his LinkedIn, this is my LinkedIn, and this Middle's contact details. And again, please, we would really appreciate if you can fill the survey for us, so we can know how to improve for other upcoming workshops. So that's it from my side.
Awesome. Thank you so much. That was really good. And we got a lot of positive feedback, especially on Crowdcast. I was monitoring the chats. Looks really, really good. So thank you so much. And also, once again, just wanted to say thank you to Arthur. Just a couple housekeeping things before we end. So we do actually have 2 other sessions coming up in this series doing integrations between IBM Cloud and Twilio. And like I said, we've got so many products on both sides of the company, but so many Twilio products, so many IBM products, but we're gonna just do 2 more integrations, one with Red Hat OpenShift and one with some of the AI components. So look forward to those. Those little links are showing up down there. Also, feel free to subscribe to all of these channels to potentially get access to those workshops and also other workshops that get promoted. And then also I wanted to mention that we do have this IBM Developer newsletter, and so if you'd like to subscribe to that, the URL is right down there on the screen as well. And then one other thing that they didn't know that I was going to mention, but I just wanted to thank everyone behind the scenes, including Gabriella and Jennifer, who have been answering questions and putting all this stuff up on the screen and wrangling all the speakers. So thank you both. It's a lot of work to get these things going with all the moving pieces. So we really appreciate that. And also thank you to everyone who presented today. Mridul, Khalil, closer?
Yes, much better. But go with Khalil. That's totally fine. I love Khalil.
and also Arthur, thank you for joining from Twilio. He had to bounce early, but we really appreciate him giving an overview of Twilio's products and also all the cool stuff that they just announced at their conference, Twilio Signal, which just happened a couple weeks ago. So it's really hot off the presses information. Thank you everybody for joining us today, and hopefully we'll see you all soon at another IBM Developer live stream.